There is a way out, a way of escape. I'm Rhonna Rickman, former Remnant Fellowship leader and Way Down staff member. Join me and other survivors as we share stories of faith and of hope and of healing from spiritual control. This is The Way of Escape. The stories shared on The Way of Escape reflect my personal experiences and opinions and those of my guests. They're told for healing, awareness, and truth from our own perspectives and memories. Welcome back to The Way of Escape. I'm Rhonna Rickman, and I have Adam Rickman with me again today. Adam, a couple of days ago, was like, I want to record another podcast. I have so much I want to share. And then this morning, he's like, let's just do it. I'm ready. I want to record this. So we're kind of winging it and kind of know what we're talking about. There's so many topics and so many things to share. But anyway, if you have news that some people probably don't know, if you want to share a little bit about that, just so we can get that out of the way. He looks a little different than he did last time.
Right after we filmed our episode, whenever we started the podcast, I was diagnosed with cancer. And that's kind of main of the reason why we paused for a little while, and so we could get our bearings and figure things out. And it's been a wild experience, but I've been doing really well. For anybody wondering, I'm just bald and have no eyebrows, which is interesting, but I'm doing really well. And so I think there's just been a lot on my heart boiling up over the past 9 months that I've through diagnosis since last time I shared, and it's just a journey since leaving Remnant, and the things you just like progressively learn more, and you progressively, it depends on what path you take whenever you leave, but you either grow closer to Jesus or you go further away. But it's been going closer for me, and I mean through the cancer diagnosis and stuff like that, there's been lots of learning that I've had to do, and our family in general has to do a lot of growing. And so, but the cancer diagnosis kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things. And so a lot of people, when they're diagnosed with cancer, talk about realizing who your real friends are, who the people that care about you are. And you learn really quickly who you want to put your energy into and who's putting energy back into you. And that's been completely true for me and my experience. And it made it very clear whenever I was diagnosed who truly cared about me and who truly wanted to check up on me. Because, even in my diagnosis, sorry to all my friends that I haven't responded to or take a little bit longer to respond to. It's just life kind of got a little bit busy. But I truly appreciate every single person that has reached out and sent their prayers, their thoughts, who's checked up on me through my surgeries and all that kind of stuff.
The diagnosis was a shocking experience, a very growing experience. He's doing really well. He's had 3 surgeries and lots of chemo. Lots more chemo. We head back again, and then radiation, and then maintenance chemo for a year. So it's a long journey, and his life changed, and our life changed too. And it's been actually not fun. That's not the way to explain it, because that sounds crazy, but so many people feel like sorry for us, and they say, I'm so sorry. And I tell people, my friends that have kids Adam's age, I'm like, moms would dream of getting to spend as much time as I've gotten to spend with Adam at 20 years old. He's an incredible kid. He convicts me. Sorry, get kind of teary. He makes me laugh. He keeps me, focused, and he keeps the nurses and doctors love and adore him. And no matter where he's at, if he's getting chemo, if it's after surgery, if he's in the ICU, they love Adam and they fight over him and stuff. So there's a beautiful part of him. And I know I did look through my phone too, because every time I've gotten on one of these podcasts and said, I haven't heard from any of my friends or nobody, it's people I thought were closest to me. There were people that reached out to me initially, and I was in shock and didn't know how to respond. And I was scared that they were going to try to talk me out of it or try to divide our family or whatever. There was people that, wanted to meet with Adam and stuff too, and then that was confusing. It wasn't confusing, like he didn't want to change his mind. It just was frustrating. And so we knew at that point it was hard to respond. It was hard to say anything to anybody when we first left Remnant. Then some of my friends that were my closest friends in Remnant did reach out to me when Adam got diagnosed. And somebody heard through the grapevine that he had this diagnosis, and it was really hard too then, because I was like, wait, we spent a year where y'all haven't talked to us, and now you want to text us and tell us you love us so much that nobody like wanted to come say hi or come over or like just say, will you tell me your side of the story? And so that it's always just so weird. You don't really know how to respond. So I guess I'm saying people didn't reach out to me and want to know how I was doing, what happened, where my heart was, that telling me that they still love me and all the things. They reached out because they wanted to know what happened, or they wanted to say, this is horrible that you've done this. You know, why didn't you Matthew 18 it? And why didn't you, help get it fixed or whatever? So anyway, all that to say, it's kind of twisted together in all this, like people.
I think I've got to experience levels of this, I guess. That's kind of what I've been thinking about recently, is just, I remember whenever we first left and then the reaction that we got, and we were very vocal whenever we left. And so I understand how people responded and why people didn't reach out. But we've talked about this before, but it's incredibly hurtful for the people that you spent your whole entire life with. I spent every, waking moment with these people, and I grew up with these people, and I considered these people to be second families and stuff like that because of how much time I spent with them. And for those people to not, I guess it was either reaching out in anger or not truly wanting to understand. And every time you try to explain it to them, they say, I don't understand, I don't understand, I don't understand. And it's whenever you're in there, you're just literally so, I guess, like consumed by everything that's going on around you. And so it's hard for your like whole entire life to be questioned. And it was hard for us when we left. I mean,
but it was hard for us when other people left before us.
Oh yeah.
So we did the same thing to people.
Like experiencing it now, the people that I've gotten to reconnect with and the people that I've gotten to apologize to and tell them that I'm so sorry. I didn't know that it was just complete lies. I didn't know that that was all made up and that it was completely villainized. I remember when people left and I was like, why can't I talk to them? Like, I feel like if I could just have a conversation with them, then I could, figure it out, or they would stay or something like that. But then, not to harp on you or anything, but you're getting direction from up above, and they told, you can't do that. That's wrong. You can't reach out to them. They're
they
demonic.
They won't hear you. They're blind and all that.
And they would do the whole thing. Like, I'd be like, so she's saying that, she saw a sign or something like that. And then you're kind of like, or like God was prompting them to leave.
Right.
Or whatever. And you're like, okay, so, we believe in that too. So like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, some people, they just tune out God and then they want, they finally just hear their own voice inside their head.
Right.
And so they just make up signs and they think it's God. And whenever that was not the case whatsoever, now that I've experienced leaving Remnant and have experienced immense joy and revelation and understanding in my own faith journey and stuff like that. And so...
And met other people outside of the little circle.
My gosh. And so that's, I guess, if we're progressing from leaving and how, I guess, that whole like excommunication went with, some of my closest friends or people that I cared about. There were people that did reach out and there were people that tried to understand, and I truly appreciate that. And but then there were majority of the people did not want to understand and did not reach out in that moment.
Or maybe they just didn't want to be confused.
Or they were told, like me, not to reach out, even if they wanted to. And so I understand where those people are coming from as well.
I think I did it. I think I told the kids to not reach out to people when they left because probably somewhat out of fear that they would hear the truth and get or not hear that. At the time I didn't know, but they would hear something that clicked with them and then they would want to leave too. And I didn't want that. So I wanted them just to stay in our little circle of things,
Yeah, because we thought everybody was just like these master manipulators, that they were all going to like just somehow loop us off the edge. And imagine having a religion so fragile that one conversation with someone could pull someone off.
Right.
And we were so scared of any of that. I mean, there was like certain colleges that people couldn't go to. There were certain groups people couldn't join because of Remnant, that kind of thing. And so, I mean, we were just it was so fragile of a religion that you could so easily be, the veil be lifted, that kind of thing.
It had gotten so much persecution.
So much persecution.
That
so sad.
I think that our experience is like everybody else's before us that have left. I mean, I've talked to people that left 20 years ago. Well, I talked to somebody recently that left 23 years ago or something. And then I talked to somebody that left 20 years ago. And I mean, a lot of people have reached out. I think that one of the things that we said as a leadership, or that was told to us, so we repeated it, was that they're going to tell you that they're reading their Bible more than ever, that they are more in love with God than ever, that their marriage is better than ever, and all the things. But that's just because the veil has dropped and they can't see how bad it is. And I remember leaving and thinking, oh my gosh, I can actually communicate with Odie and tell him everything I'm thinking. And Adam can tell me everything he's thinking. Abby can tell Blake. Abby are telling Eric and Rachel. You know, it was constantly better. Like it was scary, and it was those things, and it was sad, and we missed our friends.
Well, I want to make it perfectly clear. On my podcast, I said this is the most joy I've ever felt. This is the best year of my life, and it has continued to be that way. I got diagnosed with cancer, and it's still 10 times better than ever having to be in that place.
It's because you're not conforming to something, and you get to be who you are.
Right.
Yeah. And so there's freedom. And I think I was telling someone, you know, my text I would send to people when they would reach out and be like, I see it. It's kind of crazy. I don't know what to do. And I would just say, run, Forrest, run. Take that opportunity, that one little moment to go, okay, this is it. I think other people have mentioned it on other podcasts and maybe on this one as well. But, you know, if you get that you kind of have to take that opportunity that when you feel it, like, I got to go. So I remember whenever we first talked about leaving, and I was talking about this morning also, but like you were like, it's crazy. You know, I see some crazy things, Mom. And he was very dead set on that. He knew this was the right thing to do. But I kept saying to him, Adam, you're going to have no friends. You are going to have no friends. No one's going to be allowed to talk to you. Like, you will be the most dangerous teenager that ever, because you knew what was going on, and you're going to be free, and your whole family's leaving, and no one's going to talk to you. And Adam was adamant. No, so-and-so will. And so-and-so will. You know, like, he knew for sure there would be people that would always and forever be his close friends, and that he had grown up with knowing they would be friends forever, you know. And
I was fully prepared to lose everybody.
Yeah.
I think that is also something that's very true. There definitely were people that I wanted with all my heart not to lose. But I was prepared to lose everything, because that was clearly the pattern with everybody else that had left. And what I was saying whenever I left, what I texted out and stuff like that was, I was going to be framed as a mocker. You know, that's what we were told our whole entire lives, is that you can associate with the people that leave peacefully or whatever and just go on and do their own thing. But you can't, the mockers, the one that say that Gwen or Elizabeth, whatever, that they're saying something evil about them, you can't talk to them.
Right.
And so I was fully prepared to lose people.
Right.
And I thought that I wouldn't lose some people because I thought they were real friendships, but you learn very quickly where people's loyalties lie.
And you learn that there's a lot more to it on both sides of the coin. Like, I remember a very good friend of mine leaving and blocking me on all of social media, so I couldn't even keep up with what she was doing, you know? So it immediately made me go, yeah, she's crazy and doesn't want to be my friend, and so I'm not going to talk to her anymore. And
I unfollowed so many people whenever I left because I didn't want to see.
It was confusing, and it continues to be. I see people that watch my stories, you know, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know they would still be following me. Like, almost 2 years later, they still are following. And so maybe you're curious. I don't know. Maybe you just want to see what I got to say because you think it's funny, or you want to make fun of it. Or, I mean, I've been in all those meetings where we would, you know, dissect every video that Michael did.
I'm just saying, Mom's job was to dissect that stuff. Her job was to go through and look where she is now. She left Remnant. Oh no.
It's been a fun adventure. So I think, okay, so what was the hardest thing about the friendships?
About the friendships?
Or did you feel like,
Right now, I feel completely healed from a lot of the hurt that was done
yeah,
in the beginning.
yeah,
And it feels kind of childish to look
Yeah.
back at it now.
Yeah, yeah.
Like how dramatic it felt in the moment to lose all those relationships. But now it's realizing the friendships that I gained outside of Remnant.
Yeah.
And so I got to experience real friendships, people that I like genuinely actually had a connection with.
Right.
And, I thought I had that in Remnant, but I mean, it was a lot of proximity.
Yeah.
And you knew everybody. I mean, there wasn't a person there that I wasn't friends with.
right.
So like, what does that mean really?
Right.
And so,
Like it's hard if you're watching this and you've never experienced Remnant firsthand or a really tight group of people like that. Adam was friends with whoever was in his age range. Now there was some better friends, and Gwen and Elizabeth always said that. That's like Jesus had his 12 disciples and that were his besties, but he was still friends with the other people, But I think that
I was pretty far up in that inner circle thing too. And so, I mean, feels crazy to say now, but I mean, I was just, stuck in that, I guess, the middle of the pack thing. And so, you have to like social climb, and I dated people that put me there too. And so then I just kind of was in that group. And so I think
But maybe
I knew that I would lose those people definitely because of the things I said. So whenever I left Remnant, none of those people reached out. That's for sure. I mean, okay, maybe like one or two, and they know who they are. And
maybe their mom told them to.
so
I don't know.
it's very
Or
different.
maybe they wanted to, but you were friends with people. It's kind of like having a friend at work and you talk every day and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to tell you what happened last night, when you're like heating up your lunch at the office.
Yeah.
And then you like get to better your career. So you move on to a new job and you're sad because you think, I'm going to miss hanging out with Sally at lunch every day. She's awesome.
Yeah.
And I get to tell her all of my scoop every morning. And then you leave the job and you think you're going to stay connected. You're going to work hard at staying connected. Sally thinks she's going to stay connected. You think you're going to stay connected. And then you quickly realize the only thing you really had in common was this job. Mm-hmm. It wasn't really that you had like-minded things. And that's what Gwen would always talk about was, find a group of like-minded people, a group of people sold out for God. And then their first love will be God, and then your first love will be God, and so everything else will just fall into place. She said that also about dating and about marriages.
You could, as long as they love God, you can date whoever and marry them. Mm-hmm.
So what... That doesn't work. My professional opinion is that doesn't work. You know what was astonishing is we're kind of going off rogue here, except that I met my husband at a bar in college. We didn't know if we had anything in common. We went to the same college, which is, that's kind of in common. We both grew up in Oklahoma. We both grew up in small towns. And then, so there's kind of some common thread. You understood each other. You weren't shocked when you went home to each other's house to visit family. It was like, and I think that being put into an environment where you had to find somebody to date in there, you had to be friends with those people.
I was constantly in a relationship. When I was 13, I was in my first relationship, and then I wasn't single until I was however old, until I left.
19.
18.
18. So, anyway, I think it goes both ways. Like, so there are people, so I've said on almost every podcast, like, no one reached out to us. Well, that was a gross overstatement, of course. There are people that reached out to us. There were, 400 people that left Remnant altogether, or however many it's been. And those people reached out to us too. And so we did have lots of people to chat with and to talk to. But people that were current members, that those first day or two were just scary texts. Like, how could you have done this? Gwen, this is not fair to Gwen. This is horrible.
This is heartbreaking.
You are breaking our hearts. You're making us cry.
This crushed me.
Yeah.
Got lots of those texts.
Yeah. So then you're just thinking, I can't talk to them. So, but they don't try to continue to talk to you either because they know it's bad. They don't want to hang out with us. But we didn't want to hang out with them because we didn't want to get berated either or whatever. So
I think you also have to see it as like the reason that we distance ourselves. I mean, I unfollowed a bunch of people, and you can say that I distanced myself from you or whatever too, which is true. After I first left, I didn't immediately unfollow everybody because I thought that maybe someone would reach out, maybe someone would understand. But whenever that wasn't happening, it was incredibly hard to look at people's stories and see people still just stuck there. people that were still just doing the same old thing, still doing the
So
same.
was it sad, like, oh man, they're all together and I'm doing nothing tonight? Or was it more
I
like...
think that was something that I had to build, like an immunity to, because you're kind of, I think I was raised in an environment where it was important to be invited to those things, and where it was literally my whole entire life. I had something to do Saturday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Friday, that kind of thing. And there was parties all the time. I had 800 friends. Well, not 800, but at least 30 people that I considered close friends. And so I don't know. I don't think it was sad to see those people in those stories and stuff, but it was sad to see these people that I thought were my closest friends, and then I wasn't there with them. Was difficult to watch. But I think that as time progressed, it kind of came more sad for them.
Right.
And then it was just like, as more time progressed, it would be like 5 months out, and then you're like,
good grief,
you're still there? You're still doing the same thing? It's like, okay, pickleball again? It's like, oh, that same person's house again? We're doing food, fun, and fellowship again? And so then it was just, the same thing every night. A same concert, same festival, same thing, same this, same that.
Same surface conversation.
It was just, it's like,
go deep.
It's like, even now, it's like looking back in a time capsule. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, they're still living that same life that I was living my whole 18 years of being there. And so it's weird seeing it, because I feel like I grew up in that time, and those people didn't.
Yeah.
And not trying to be rude at all in that statement, but it's just, I think that's how it feels looking out and looking in.
Yeah, and cancer makes you grow up real fast. You kind of decide what's really important.
Well, if we're going to fast forward to the cancer chapter of everything. So after the first podcast came out, and that kind of era, I guess,
November of 25.
That's whenever it was like, kind of like reignited a lot of people's hatred towards us. In Remnant, and then it kind of just reignited a lot of our thoughts too about Remnant, because we had a whole, how long was it until a year until that podcast started. And so then it was just, we had a lot of time to do our healing and to separate ourselves from it, so that whenever we started talking about it, it wasn't an open wound.
It honestly was healing.
Yeah.
It was more healing for us to kind of talk about it, and then for people to message us and to be like,
so then we
my goodness.
get these super hateful messages whenever the podcasts come out. Then I get diagnosed with cancer, and it's like the script flips. And people that I didn't even talk to in Remnant, I'd get like a random text from, and it was just like, I could read them to you now. It's a lot of, hey man, praying for you in this hard time. Or, hey man, I'm so sorry, praying for you. Hey man, just saw your Instagram post, praying for you. And I think what was so shocking in that moment was seeing the contrast between those messages and then the messages from the people I had met outside of Remnant. And so people that I considered my closest friends for all 18 years of my life were pretty stagnant. There were definitely messages that were incredibly kind, and people that did keep in touch and try to reach out, sent gifts and stuff like that. But that was probably 3 people.
3 people.
And so, and those people, thank you. I appreciate it. But
you can tell where the heart of somebody...
Yeah, and they know, when they hear this, they know who they are, and they know what I'm saying too.
For sure.
But the messages that I got from my friends that have no association with Remnant were, Adam, you are so strong. You're going to make it through this. We are praying for your healing. We are declaring your healing. Yeah. You are healed.
Can I come pray with you?
Yeah, it's like, when can we meet up? I want to do something. It's like, how are you doing? When's your next surgery? That kind of thing. It's like, is your surgery tomorrow? I'm praying for you. Or how is the surgery? Did you recover?
Can I drive all the way to your house, which is a long way now?
And I want to pray over you.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And it's like, can your family be there? And that kind of thing, where it was just, it was very intentional. It was people, even in the cancer community say, you have to take action rather than just saying, let us know.
Right.
Let me know if you need anything. It was, these people genuinely cared. These people genuinely reached out, because these people were genuinely my friends. And so...
And they had a connection and understood.
They also had been raised with a message of hope and a message of healing. And they had gone to churches or been raised with families that believed in hope. And Remnant doesn't preach that message. And it was very evident in all of those text messages that I received. Because not one of those people, not one person from Remnant said, we're praying for your healing.
Until we publicized that we were proclaiming the healing, and then
they decided that they were gonna try that message.
That joined in. So this isn't.
Well, it was not okay, but it was after we were talking on the podcast about how they don't know who Jesus Christ is.
Right.
Then they start in their posts and stuff trying to add in Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we did the podcast.
Which, thank God, that is amazing that they're finally giving credit to Jesus Christ, but it feels performative.
Yeah. Because that happened for like Christmas, and they did, unlike any other year of ever.
You can go back and look at their other posts, and it's not the same.
It's like, happy birthday, Jesus, you know. And so,
but that's not
fine.
what they were saying. Right.
That's not it at all. What the whole idea is that I think whenever you're sharing this and I'm listening and experiencing what I experienced with you, it's like almost like you lose getting trained how to be a part of society inside of there, because there are normal things, like you go and do an internship, but you're young.
This is something I think kind of what you're going with, but I always thought I was, and I guess I would probably say an extrovert.
Yeah.
In this sense. So I always thought that was, people always said, Adam, you have the gift of encouragement. That's what Remnant would say. And so I would, be sent out to be the one that was going to go encourage the random person that was coming to church or something like that, or someone that was hurting and that kind of thing. That was always my job.
Somebody on the edge.
Yeah. And they're like, Adam, you have such a beautiful smile, that kind of thing, or whatever. And so they'd put you on stage, and, they'd put you up front and center or whatever. And so I think I was raised to believe that that's how I should behave. But then whenever I left Remnant, it was kind of the realization that's not me at all. I was masking a lot of myself, I guess. Whenever in all reality, it was like, I thought that these parties were required, and it was just like, yes, I reached out for these things because that's what I thought was supposed to happen. That's what I was trained to believe was needed. And, I guess any kind of introvert kind of person wasn't lifted up,
Right.
what I'm saying? And so you're trying to like scale this ladder at Remnant, trying to scale, getting into the middle of the pack. And they talk about it all the time. That is preached from the stage, talking about trying to get into the middle of the pack. And that is trying to climb a social ladder. And then leaving Remnant, it was kind of just realizing that it's just like, that was all for show.
Yeah.
And it's just not really how
But your friends that you got to know in college and at other places, they knew you for the real you. And some of your good friends from Remnant as well did. The people that you were close to, and it wasn't like just people we encouraged you to hang out with. So
that's very true.
One of the things that happens within there is you want your kid to move up in the status.
Social ranking.
Even though it sounds ridiculous, I'm just confessing. It's what everyone wants. They want them to fit in. They want them to, to get accepted and get invited to all the cool sleepovers and parties and themed events and stuff like that. But when what happens is, in doing that, you're encouraging certain people to be friends with that would never have in common. I could say, but you need to invite so-and-so over for this sleepover. And Adam would be like, we don't even know what to talk about. Like, this is weird, Mom. But I would force it because I wanted that kid, he was more popular or more accepted by Gwen or Elizabeth, or he was dating one of Gwen or Elizabeth's kids, and I wanted Adam to be in that crowd. And yes, it's climbing, and I'm confessing it, and I'm sorry. I did it. It was like
it's every parent's mission in there.
Yeah, and it was hard. And we had friends that would call us, like Julie that's been on my podcast, and she would say, can Jonah go to that party Adam's going to? And then I'd be like, oh my gosh. And then
I'd have to ask Grace or something like that. And then Grace would be like, we're just trying to keep it small. After it was literally just said on stage, these parties are the most fun. And if you want to be invited, just let us know and you'll be there. That kind of thing. It was literally, I'm not like, being totally honest, happened the night before that they would preach that on stage. And then the next day, I would have multiple people come to me and say, hey, how can I get invited? And I would ask. And I was always so afraid because I knew that the answer was going to be no.
Yeah.
And I don't remember once that the answer was yes.
Nope. Mm-mm.
It was just lies.
And then it was traumatizing because we had to figure out how to
say
it more positively to our friends. Like, oh my gosh, it's actually a birthday party for one of the so-and-so, da-da-da. And they only purchased 10 gingerbread houses. So they can't have extras, so it would be like this over justification. And yes, they were supposed to die to their will and not worry that they weren't invited.
And you can't complain because
that's bad too.
That's bad.
But what we did was
you
bad on all fronts.
You can't talk about it because then that's also bad. I mean, it's just like, but I'm telling you right now, whenever I left, I remember having a conversation with my very close friend inside of Remnant and telling him my concerns whenever I was in Remnant, and talking about how I was like, I don't understand why Ashton is this Like, why is this where everybody wants to be? Whenever in all reality, I know people there that are not chasing after God and that are not chasing after this relationship. And I don't understand, why are they the ones being lifted up? And I mean, including myself in that. It's just like, why me of all people are they deciding to invite to these things, that kind of thing.
Right.
And then, because I had conversations with people that were on the edge or people that were, you know, struggling, that were way more spiritually profound than any of the conversations that I've ever had with any of the people invited to Ashlon.
That's what Eric would always
And
say.
so I voiced those concerns to my friend, and he knew. And then I left like immediately after that. And so that's just one of the examples of kind of just like, it wasn't just, it wasn't just like a one thing that broke the camel's back, I guess.
Right.
You know, it was kind of lots of things that piled up over time, and you just have all these things shoved down. And then you finally are like, okay, we're taking the leap to leave. And so then we left the way that was necessary for us to leave, and people were very hurt, I think, and shunned us because we didn't Matthew 18 it. And so then it was just like, oh, you just jumped off the cliff, and so now we don't talk to you because you're aggressive. And then I guess progressing forward,
We did it just so different than most people.
yeah.
Most people just had so much counsel, so much
There were leaders that left and did that, where they would send out a letter.
They just left? I don't remember it.
Yeah, there's one where he sent out the letter to all the leadership.
Okay, well.
It was one of just leadership. It wasn't like the whole entire congregation.
Okay. Yeah. And then, but then I still just believed the narrative that was told to me. My whole goal in this is to give an open door where people see we're just as, flawed as the next guy, as anybody. And, we should have texted back more or tried to try harder for the people that there
was a lot of pain in that moment. And so then it was hard to text back people that you knew were being fake.
Or you knew that they knew.
Yeah.
They had, you could tell in a conversation that they were like, it really bothers me. What's going on? Or have you seen
there were
this?
lots of those conversations too. People were just like, I see exactly what you're seeing, and then just stayed. And they just kept on going along with it. And it's just kind of like, okay, it's just clearly you changed your mind.
Yeah. And a lot of people, and the narrative has changed now to where there's a little bit more laid back. Yeah. And
I think that also one of the reasons, like whenever we left, there's so many messages, there were messages from people that were trying to voice that they had the same concerns.
Yeah.
And then there weren't any there were a few messages of people that were like, why would you do this?
Yeah.
And then
in all these things, your nervous system's overrun, you're stressed out, nervous.
Oh, what I was going to say is that it's just, we also now had the freedom where I had been told my whole entire life that I need to be an encouragement or be this friend with this person, be the friend with this person, be the friend with this person. And then whenever I left, I now had the freedom to be friends with people that I wanted to be friends with.
And
people
you didn't
that I had
have to respond to it.
I didn't have to respond to someone.
And maybe that's the same thing on the inside. Maybe everybody wasn't really our friend anyway, and they didn't really want to text us back if we.
And so maybe they now had the freedom not to text us, which makes total sense. But the shunning that really hurt happened later.
Okay.
When, after whenever.
Tell them what we heard just because it goes along with the piece of the puzzle here. After Adam's diagnosis, it was literally a week after the podcast was released, the podcast Adam was on. And we heard quickly, I never thought of it. I never thought it the day that you got diagnosed in the hospital.
No,
I never thought it, but somebody told us that.
We're not messed up in the head, is why.
One dad told their kids about Adam having cancer. Somebody found out in the Remnant, and then it spread throughout everybody in there. And he told he used it as a lesson to tell his child, Adam got cancer, that's what happened.
This is what happens when you leave.
And so that is exactly following the narrative of you will be cursed if you leave, which is the biggest lie ever, but that's what Gwen preached.
If this happened in Remnant after any sort of like major like public announcement, if someone got cancer, then it was considered spiritual warfare. And so then the narrative immediately flips once it's on the other side.
Right.
And it's no longer, oh, Satan's attacking you, it's God cursed you. And so that kind of thing. And so I don't think that at all in my heart, and that did not cross my mind because I'm not sick in my head, that kind of thing, and so it was hurtful to hear those words and be like, why would you ever say that? But the person that said it, I was like, yeah, seems like he would say that, that kind of thing. And then,
or maybe that he got that direction from someone else. It was a good thing to scare your kids into staying because it was like a visual or a tangible thing. Like, this really shows you, because I remember
but people got cancer in there too, and so it's just like, I don't understand the narrative that you're trying to feed.
Yeah.
You know, I am incredibly grateful that whenever I got diagnosed, it was not within Remnant, because that would have been completely soul crushing.
Yes.
The way that I know that people had to handle cancer within Remnant is very different than the way that I've been able to handle outside of Remnant.
Right.
And I know who Jesus Christ is. And I know that he gives you peace that surpasses all understanding. And so I was given the option to have joy and peace.
Yes.
And I wasn't hidden away. And I was able to go to church with my bald head, and it wasn't like I had to hide myself away or that I was drawing attention to myself, because we know that was the story for a lot of people there. We know that was a narrative that was being fed.
Right.
And so with people that had cancer within Remnant. And so I am grateful that I get to be outside of it and get to go through this journey, through this diagnosis, and that I knew that there was going to be healing. And I'm no evidence of disease right now because God is good, because of Jesus Christ that I was healed. And in Remnant, you wouldn't be able to get to say that, I would have had to give credit to Elizabeth. I would have had to give credit to, her praying over me or something like that, like they did for so many people.
Yeah.
That is an active, real thing. Go watch those webcasts where it says Elizabeth is the one that healed me, or Elizabeth prayed this one word or whatever, and then automatic healing or whatever. But I somehow found healing outside of Remnant. I found healing without Elizabeth. That's crazy, because Elizabeth isn't Jesus, And so I guess that's where it frames over, is just, what are you worshiping there?
Yeah.
What are you worshiping there?
There's so many things we could unpack, but I guess that primarily Adam texted me this morning and said, I want to talk about excommunication and shunning. I want to do a podcast. And
well, I think recently there was something that happened, and it was just, I think it kind of brought it all back up, and I'm so far removed from Remnant now. Like, I don't live anywhere near it. I don't pass it. I don't see anybody from there. And on social media even, I don't follow that many people from there. And so I don't see it that often.
right.
But something recently happened, and I guess it brought up a lot of old wounds. And it's happened twice now, actually. People that I thought that I was going to be there for these super important events in their life. People that I thought I was going to be their best man, People that I thought I was going to be at their engagement. It's happened twice. And people that I thought I knew when they were going to get married and all that kind of stuff. And I don't want to...
But you understand.
I do understand why I'm not there.
Yeah.
And I understand our relationships have suffered completely because of Remnant and because of me leaving. And I understand completely why, because we are not anywhere near as close as we were whenever I was in Remnant.
Right.
And I blame Remnant for every single inch of that. I blame them for taking away those relationships from me. And so I don't blame the person, because I understand the brainwashing that goes on within Remnant. And I'm not afraid to talk about it, because it is important to be heard. And I think that I could just stay silent about it and hope that the relationship heals itself.
Maybe it will.
Maybe it will. And I pray to God that it does heal. But it's a really big wound to heal.
It is. I know that also we heard through the grapevine, and it was very noticeable that, and this is one of the reasons that Adam unfriended a lot of people or unfollowed, is because they were told by leadership. I think Amy Stites is the one that told somebody, a close friend of his, that they were not to like Adam's post that he was doing. Adam does on his own Instagram. He is very vocal about his relationship with Jesus Christ and the peace that he has and the healing that has taken place.
I don't talk about Remnant at all.
Right. No.
It's like that is like as far removed from Remnant as possible.
But something about it tripped a trigger in there, and they didn't want anybody liking his post. I guess it was confusing, because why would you like Adam's post?
Oh my gosh, he's talking about Jesus?
Or because you're not in Remnant.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's because you're not in Remnant. But that part was very hurtful too. I'm like, can you imagine doing that? If you take this out of the equation, you've never been in Remnant before, and you told somebody, now don't like that kid's post that's about cancer and loving Jesus Christ, that's bad. It makes no sense. So,
not that I want you to like my posts. That's not the narrative here at all. The narrative is why? Like why is that?
Tell someone?
Why is that coming down from leadership?
Right.
Why do they get to control what you like on social media to begin with? And then why is it me talking about cancer and Jesus Christ that is so scary to them?
I don't know. But that part was like Are you kidding me? Now they're saying you can't even like a social media post that is positive and hopeful, and you could be, or watch him. I'm sure they told him to unfollow or mute his stories or whatever. But you also can't, you can't associate, and you can't have them be a part of your life at all. And so it just goes back. We all knew this was going to happen. Just back to the beginning, Adam knew he was going to lose the friendships.
Yeah.
You knew that it was going to be
Well,
hard.
at that time, nobody else had left. And so I didn't even know I was going to have the friendships that I get to have still,
Yeah, because he has friends that have left since we left, and so they all get to.
Yeah, we get to be friends, because that's what you normally do.
And you get to be honest. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we have a shared experience. And it's very hard for people to understand this experience. It's very hard for people to understand, leaving a cult at that too. So it's just kind of like, I've shared my experience with a lot of my friends and stuff like that. And thankfully I have amazing people in my life.
Yeah.
And so they, are able to, they see it and they're just like, what?
Yeah.
What in the world? That's crazy. Like you were a part of that. And then they watch the documentary, the Lifetime, all the podcasts and stuff about it. And so it is interesting to be outside of it, to make friends and stuff like that. And you realize how crazy it really is.
It is. And the thought that somebody could tell you what to like or not to like, who to be friends with and who not to be friends with, who to go to dinner with and who not to go to dinner with. And we listened to it. We did it. We did it too. So we're not blaming any one of our old friends, because we did exactly what you've done. And, us me and Odie sending a text to a friend of ours, and nobody responds.
Yeah.
Not even with a heart, heart it. Just say Merry Christmas or whatever. But
there is complete forgiveness for people that have hurt us and that have left and stuff like that.
For sure.
Because we were given forgiveness by the people that left before us that we hurt. And
it's beautiful.
But it's completely true. Every single person that has left has been incredibly kind.
Yes.
Because they know what this experience is like.
There's old friends of ours that had left, and when I talked to them, I'm like, I'm so sorry that I blocked your phone number and that I didn't talk to you anymore, and that, and then there's people that blocked me, and they, I reached out to them, and then they were like, I'm sorry I blocked you. I was just scared what you were going to say to me, and I didn't want to see all your stuff. And you have to create this safe spot, and you have to do what's healthiest for you and your family.
Yeah, and it's like we said before, there's nothing that we're going to say that's going to really get you out of there. It's just hopefully that the more you listen, the more you hear something that...
And you think, wow, people do tell us what to post.
You start to
comment and what not to comment.
You start to realize that, oh, shoot. But it's going to be your own personal choice. We've said that every single podcast probably too.
Yeah, we're just here to spread the news that there is a way of escape, a way out, and that it's peaceful and sweet, and so many open doors and so many old friendships rekindled, with people that you weren't even close to before. Get to be friends with your neighbors and make new friends, and grow and expand and be okay not being super social. That was shocking to Adam and I at first, because we were out with people almost every night.
Yeah.
And then sitting where you weren't. That is tricky, because you're
or realizing that, oh shoot, I don't have any hobbies. It's like, oh, I've never picked up a hobby because I've just constantly been busy my whole entire life.
Yeah. So, but God has been so gracious in giving us a lot of opportunities just to hang out together, to get to be peaceful, to have this, to have opportunity with our family, our extended family, to, so I've spent lots of time with my sister. We've had lots of beautiful conversations with Odie's family, and spent, his cousins and his brother and sister and his sister-in-law and all the people that we're close to, our nieces and nephews, and on all sides of the family. It's been a beautiful thing to have, for their hearts to be so forgiving for the way that we treated them, or that the arrogant behavior we had to think we were better than them. And so anyway, we just wanted to share a little bit more. Adam felt like he wanted to get back on here. I've been trying to figure out, do I tell people why we took a big long break, or do we just keep going? And so we are going to keep going. Adam's doing great. He is I
appreciate all the prayers and the messages and all that stuff. It's been amazing, and I hope
He's
you keep
on
watching.
Yeah. We love you all. Thank you so much. Don't forget, there is a way of escape. Thank you for listening to The Way of Escape. Follow along for new episodes as we uncover truth, heal from spiritual abuse, and find lasting freedom. You too can find a way out, a way of escape.